Hi, I just want to talk about a little bit about the spiritual war that's going on between, the good people out there and I guess you want to call them the people doing bad things. Um, I was on an express bus just last week, and there was this guy who looked a little high. I was sitting at the back of the bus, and which I don't usually sit back there, but I did because there was a seat available back there, and anyhow, yeah, after about 15 minutes or so, this other guy got on. He was asking him about this stuff or something. And then he had pulled out this yellow pill, which I don't know what that was, but I do know I looked over a couple of minutes after that. He started crumpling up some white stuff and then started sniffing it. He rolled up a dollar bill, and everybody. I kind of waited to see if anybody was gonna say, if any of the guys were gonna say something. If there was a man on this bus in this area that was going to say something to this guy. Because I was a little concerned. I'm like, this guy is high, and, he's young. He looks, like physically stronger than me. But, I have taken some self-defense and fighting. So I said, well, I gotta say something because nobody else is, and this ain't right. I don't want this guy doing. If this is crack or cocaine, I don't know what the hell it was, but sniffing that stuff on a public, in the public right beside me, like I don't want to see this. So I said to him, I said, buddy, what are you doing? So I said to him, this shit'll kill you, and it will. You could drop dead any time doing that stuff, right? He goes, oh, I'm just sniffing this because it puts the aspirin right on my headache. I'm like, you're sniffing aspirin for a headache? I said, this is like a blonde dye job, right? Don't think because you see a blonde woman that there's not a whole lot of knowledge and life experience and brains behind the blonde hair. Blonde hair for girls is just fun. It's just fun stuff, right? It's me being a girl. But it's not easy being a girl sometimes in this world. But I'm determined to be a girl, you know. So, you wondered what happened afterwards. So, he was kind of surprised I said anything to him because he's high as hell and he's in his own world. He's just pretty much like, I don't know what he was thinking besides, trying to lie to me about the fact that, it was for his headache. You know, deal with the headache. Don't roll up stuff and sniff it like you're in like some kind of dirty basement kind of crack house in the public like this. Because I don't want to see that. I feel compassion for him that he's even doing it. Because it's like you can drop dead at any damn time. Because I don't believe that was aspirin. I believe he's lying through his teeth, right? And then I thought to myself, this is the issue that I have. Like, this pisses me off how not one man on the bus, there wasn't one man on the bus that said, look, dude, this is not right. Don't do that shit here. They all sit there and they don't say anything, you know? You gotta inflict some trouble, make it a little difficult for them to be doing this criminal activity on the down bus, right? So I got off the bus and I was taking another bus, and then I told him, I said to the bus driver, I just want to let you know, I think that guy was doing crack cocaine, and he was just like, oh man, I'm like, so I waited. And he's like, oh yeah, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah. So I waited another second, I'm like, well, so don't you think we should tell somebody? Don't you have somebody you could tell? Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. It was only then, it was like, okay, then he went on over and got uh, the security guard, and the security guard came over, and the security guard, uh, stepped on the bus. I said, well, let me step off and tell you what happened, and then, so this other drunk guy came over, and he's like, oh, do you need some money for the bus? I'm like, no, that's nice of you to offer, but no, I'm good. Yeah, he was going on the bus really loud after on the second bus how People aren't polite, and they don't say hello, they don't say good evening, and and he was doing his drunk rant on the bus about that. Um, they say a drunk man's words is a sober man's thoughts. So, anyway, so I got a description of the guy that was doing that, and so that's what I would suggest people to do. Is get it. That's the first thing they're gonna ask you. Get a description. If you see somebody coming around you, like if you see somebody that's doing stuff like that, if criminal activity, if you see, things going on or ready to go down, you need to get a description. And you don't have to say anything. Like, I didn't have to say anything to the guy. But this was a younger guy, and I wanted to say, look, that shit'll kill you. And, hopefully, I doubt it, but hopefully he'll say, you know what, she may be right. Maybe she's right. Maybe I can do this. I'm going to die, and I don't want to die. Like, that's what's going on. Like, there's different forces that go around the earth. Like God's the strongest force, and there's different levels of evil, right? If you want to say, call him Satan or the devil, or it's a force, and there's different levels of it. But there is a full-on, perilous fight force going after young guys, and it comes right from that force through the drug dealers, through the system that fails these young people, right to get these young guys that have their whole life ahead of them. So the drug dealers are trying to get people, they're trying to get customers, right? So they're out there, and it's like, okay, we'll go to this party, go to this club, go here, go there, push this, push that, play these guys, make me some money, bitch. That's what they're like. And the young, unsuspecting guy is, before you know it, he finds himself or herself, it's not just the guys, herself, in a situation where, they're fighting for their life. This guy's in a fight for his life. If you're on a public bus doing crack cocaine, high as hell, and you think that this is going to be okay, there's something seriously wrong with you. Seriously wrong with you. You're that high. Just like when we had the home invasion and two guys came into the house, high as hell, just standing there looking at my son with their laptop in their hand. High as hell, just I guess watching them sleep. And then my son woke up to terror, These are like micro-level terrorists. This is what they are. It's not one big event where thousands of people die. This is like a micro-level war. And this is very, very serious, that people need to inflict trouble into these guys and to push back. People have the responsibility. You can't just ignore these things. You can't just walk away like it's not happening. You can't, you got to say something so that, these people stop doing this stuff, and if more people would do that, and it's not just me, because I was getting off that bus. When I talked to him, I was getting off a few minutes later. But there was other people on there, because I said, is this happening right now? And the girls like, oh, you just, and the guys were like, oh, yeah, no, just say something. And if you're not going to say something right in that moment, say something when you get a description of the person, and then call it in, because that's not being a snitch. That mentality of, oh, you're being a snitch. No, that is, I don't want to see that shit when I'm out there. If you're gonna do that, don't do it on a public bus. Go and do it somewhere else, and I hope that you don't do it, because I don't want to see a young guy, die of a heart attack. I know, to people listening to this, people think that they're invincible. Young guys, their brain isn't fully even developed until like 21. They think they're invincible. They think they could do whatever they want, and nothing's gonna happen to them. Meanwhile, there is overdoses. Meanwhile, sometimes they have a whole life of addiction. Instead of just stopping it and saying, no, I'm getting off that path right now. That's done with, And, if you're in a city where there's not a lot of opportunity for you, you know, if you're in like San Antonio, Texas, and you want to be an actor, you're in the wrong city. Head to Los Angeles, right? Even maybe New York. Just what your purpose is and what God the Spirit of God lives within all of us. So whatever the Spirit of God is, what He's trying to do through you, you have to kind of spend some time thinking about that and owning that and going in that direction. We have the responsibility to go in the direction of our dreams. That's, I think, the second and most important thing. The first is a strong connection with God. That's the second thing. It's our purpose. It's why we're here. But this world is God's world, and this world, we should push back these people that are making bad decisions, inflict trouble, to say, look, you're not connected to God if you're doing that. You may look like one of God's children, but you're not acting like one of them. You're not behaving like one of them. So we got to push you, out of this. We got to not push you. We got to, rephrase that. We got to inflict some trouble so that you realize that this is wrong. We got too far away from right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's wrong to do crack cocaine on a city bus. I don't care if it's Saturday evening. I don't care if for any reason. I don't care. Life is hard sometimes. You got to deal with it. You can deal with it by going to the gym, doing some weights. YMCA, or the local city rec center has discounts if you're on a really strict budget. I think the Y has a no turn away policy. You got to figure out how to. We're all in a perilous fight. We all have to figure out how to get to our happy and get things done. But by hiding in the drugs and all that, that's only leading. The destination is death. There's stops along the way. You have stops uh, well, my family disowned me. I lost my, person I was in a relationship with. I lost my self-respect. I lost my property. I lost where I live. I lost my credit. I lost my, there's a whole series of, before you get to your destination, there's stops, negative stops. So you got to be strong. That's the bottom line. And so, I say, I really have a prayer for him. It's like, I hope that, that the trouble that came his way was enough to deter him to say, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's not what I want to do. I don't want to die. I don't want to be arrested on a bus. I don't want to be thrown in jail. I don't want, I don't want that life. But people, when you're out there, get a description. Get a description. Anybody coming around you, what color's the shirt, the pants, and the shoes? And they're gonna ask the hair color, eye color, and height and weight, usually, if something goes down. And they're gonna have a very hard time finding the person that harmed you if you don't have any description of them. Sometimes it's a harming of just making the world just not a nice place to be at when you see somebody doing that. Sometimes it's more, of a physical thing, or more of an emotional thing, more of a psychological thing. Sometimes it's a, it's just not nice, and I just really, really didn't like that. And you got to do the right thing and say something and inflict trouble in a non-violent way. Like, I wasn't gonna get up and knock the guy's teeth out. I mean, like I said, I have self-defense and fighting. I mean, I could have held my own. Maybe more so, maybe less, but that's not the way to do it. So you got to say something, that the people that are paid to do a job do their job. Okay, bye.